little dog.
I'm Jane Rudolph.
And I'm Monsignor Charles Minor.
I'm Father Joe Glass. Welcome to Reel to Reel.
Welcome to a Father's Day edition of Reel to Reel. And tonight, we have three kinds of fathers on Reel to Reel. We have religious fathers on Reel to Reel. We're going to have a real father profile in Roberto Clemente. And we also have a kind of a stand-in father from the Big Brothers Association.
Yeah, I think it's sad that we always think of father in terms of memory, and we don't say too much about father present action.
Well, presently it's Father's Day and I get to celebrate it, but is there a Monsignor's Day? Do you have to wait for a different day?
Every day is Monsignor's Day.
Every day is Monsignor's Day.
It's always in memory.
Well, tonight on Reel to Reel, we're going to have an opportunity to take you to the treasures of the Vatican. And it's not just the beautiful paintings and sculpture of Michelangelo. We're going to look back into the history of the Jewish people, too.
Dr. Richard Fitzgibbons has some very interesting points to give us in his relationship segment tonight, especially how we celebrate a holiday.
And we will get a glimpse at Roberto Clemente and his life and find that he was a role model not only on the baseball field but off the field as well. And on a more local scene, we're going to look at another role model, John McGarry. We'll have a chance to chat with him and what his involvement for the past 9 years with the Big Brother organization has meant.
When you talk to a graduating senior from high school, it's nice to see that many of them will say, the number one people in my life, the role models that I look to are my mother and my father, because fathers especially work so hard, always with the dignity of labor.
I've always had fun reading Dagwood, but thank goodness we're getting away from the Dagwood caricature of father, because fatherhood is such a beautiful thing. It's a whole gift of God himself. And when you think about fatherhood, you have to remember that a father combines all the secrets of nature with the dignity of labor.
It all started here on November 24th of 1713, when Miguel Jose Serra was baptized into the Catholic faith, a faith he would devoutly follow, a faith on which he would make a significant impact, a faith he would bring to the west coast of the Americas. He was born to Antonio and Margarita Serra, who lived in a small stone house on the island of Majorca, Spain. It was in this house and in the fields of Petra that the young Miguel would learn the secrets of nature and the dignity of labor. Lessons he would take with him to spread the word of Jesus Christ. Serra traveled to Palma, the capital of Majorca, at the age of 15 to study with the Franciscans. This was just the first in a long line of faithful travels he would make over the next 55 years. At the Convento de San Bernardino, Serra took the name of a friend of St. Francis, Junipero. Junipero Serra vowed to always look forward and never look back. And to this vow, he would be true. In 1749, and at the age of 36, Father Serra left his peaceful life on Majorca. After a 4-month journey by sea, he arrived in Veracruz, Mexico on December 6th. It was only the end of one journey. It was the beginning of another. Father Serra would spend the next 20 years in Mexico before he would establish the first mission in California. But when he raised the cross on Presidio Hill in San Diego, Christianity had finally arrived to the region. Over the next 15 years, Father Serra would travel the 1,000 miles up and down the California coast many times, often by foot. He brought with him the gospel of Jesus Christ and a commitment to human rights and dignity. In 1770, Father Serra traveled to Monterrey and secured the mission San Carlos Borromeo, which was later moved to Carmel to be closer to the Indian population and where the agricultural conditions were better. A year later, he walked south and established the mission San Antonio de Padua. and then walked further south to build the Mission San Gabriel Archangel, not far from the future site of the Pueblo of Los Angeles. After a trip to Mexico City to gather support for Indian rights, 5 new missions were built between 1772 and 1779. San Luis Obispo de Tolosa, San Francisco de Asís, San Juan Capistrano, Santa Clara, and San Buenaventura. He envisioned a rosary of missions traversing the western coast all the way to Alaska. The Presidio Chapel at Santa Barbara was in the process of construction when Father Serra died at the age of 70 in his simple room in Carmel. His life's work had seen 9 missions built in 13 years. But when he died in 1784, over 6,000 Indians had embraced Christianity. Eventually, 11 more missions would be built to spread the good news of the gospel. And yet, Junipero Serra left much more. He wrote California's first human rights laws to provide the Indians, whose labor had built the missions, with equal rights under Spanish law. The farming techniques he brought from Majorca helped to make the state one of the leading agricultural regions in the nation. He trained the Indians in new crafts and brought livestock and knowledge of irrigation systems. And the missions established a new form of architecture, a legacy captured in the graceful arches that are the keystone of buildings throughout the southwestern United States. But most importantly, he brought the word of the Lord to people who had never heard it before.
The effects of fatherhood can be seen beautifully in California, but the effects of fatherhood can be seen clear across the country.
Even to the baseball diamond in Pittsburgh, Roberto Clemente, not just an incredible baseball player, but an ambassador to his native Puerto Rico as well. And tonight we find out that Roberto Clemente embraced all facets of his life with an incredible intensity.
Roberto Clemente stood at the top of the stairway entrance to the DC-7 cargo plane. As he watched his wife Vera head toward the terminal exit, he felt profoundly sad. Roberto hated being apart from his family, especially on New Year's Eve. 8 days earlier, December 23, 1972, an earthquake devastated Managua, Nicaragua. 6,000 people were killed, 20,000 were injured, and 3,000 were left homeless. Roberto knew he had to do something to help his sister country. He directed this relief project with the same intensity that he played baseball for the past 18 years. Roberto had often played through the pain of chronic injuries and fatigue. I owe it to my teammates. They depend on me to lead them. I owe it to the fans who pay to watch me play. And I owe it to my Puerto Rican countrymen. I am their role model. But above all, I owe it to God because he blessed me with the ability to do great things. 3,000 hits, 4 batting championships, 2 World Series rings, 1 Most Valuable Player trophy, 12 Golden Gloves for defensive excellence. These achievements would satisfy most whose goal is greatness. What kept Clemente going? I represent the dreams of my fellow Puerto Ricans, all my Latin brothers and sisters, and every minority who is struggling to succeed in America, he once said. I owe much to these people who look to me for leadership. The plane will be delayed due to a mechanical problem, the pilot informed Clemente and the 4 other passengers. Suggestions to postpone the flight until the next day were rebuffed by Roberto. But after 3 more hours of delay, Clemente telephoned home to be picked up. Vera was just arriving home from her mother's and missed the call by 1 ring. Guess I meant to go after all, thought Roberto. It was 9:20 in the evening and the plane was finally ready for takeoff. The DC-7 crashed shortly after takeoff, killing everyone on board. Puerto Rico went into a state of shock. They had lost their premier ambassador of goodwill. Greater love hath no man than he laid down his life for his friends. Roberto Clemente had no idea he would give his life for the Nicaraguan relief effort. He simply did as he always had done, everything within his power. Perhaps the most fitting memorial to Roberto Clemente can be found in the following plaque inscription. I want to be remembered as a ball player who gave all he had to give.
Well, baseball and Father's Day seem to be very closely pulled together. Remember Jim Bunning's perfect game on Father's Day way back when?
I do, but more importantly, I want you to remember something else about Father, not surrogate father, but a new role of father. Wait with us.
You are cordially invited to join the Reel-to-Reel crew as they travel through Switzerland, Austria, and Germany, gearing up for the most dramatic event staged on the European continent, the Passion Play, a world-famous tribute to the life of Christ. At Oberammergau, you will witness live on an enormous stage the events that actually happened to Jesus during his week of Passion, performed by a cast of over 1,000 professionals. This once-in-a-lifetime religious experience brings the Passion of our Lord before your very eyes. Included in your tour package is round-trip air transportation, 14 nights deluxe hotel accommodations, and daily breakfast and dinner. You will enjoy such sightseeing tours as a beautiful cruise along the Rhine River and truly experience the culture and folklore of Europe throughout your 16-day itinerary. This spectacular trip is scheduled for July 26 through August 10, 1990. Don't hesitate to reserve your seat for the Passion Play at Oberammergau because tickets are limited. All persons traveling with the Reel-to-Reel crew will receive as a bonus a 1-hour videotape capturing the memories of your trip. For more information, please call 215-587-3775.
Well, the old-time song asks, "Brother, can you spare a dime?" And the motto of the Big Brothers could be, "Brother, can you spare some time?" With us tonight on Reel-to-Reel, this Father's Day edition, is John McGarry. He has spared some time. He's in his 9th year as a Big Brother to a fellow named Mike here in the Delaware Valley. John, welcome to Reel-to-Reel.
Thank you.
The Big Brothers do ask for a commitment of time. Can you tell us in a nutshell what your 9 years has meant to you being a Big Brother?
Well, I joined for 1 year to give them a commitment of 4 hours a week, and after the 1 year, I found it was the most fascinating thing in my life that I could ever imagine. I just, after 1 year, I kept going and going and going with it. I just got so much out of it.
Now, you are not only a Big Brother, though, you're also a husband and a father, right? You're
I am
married.
a father of 3 girls and a little boy.
Mm-hmm. And yet, with your commitments to your full-time job, to your wife, to your family, you still have managed to have time to be a Big Brother.
Well, basically in the beginning, they asked for 4 hours a week. And I found over a period of time, the 4 hours is really nothing to do. It's going to the movies, it's going out fishing and crabbing and working on bikes or this or that.
Which are things I guess you like to do anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
The Big Brother organization try to match your little brother to your personality? They try to match you up a bit?
Well, once you're accepted into the Big Brothers, they go through a period of basically it could be a week to 6 months until they find a child to your liking. It'd be, in my case, I'm Catholic, Mike's Catholic, he's Irish, I'm Irish. And I would say after I was accepted into the Big Brothers, it was about a month wait until...
Well, let's back up a bit now. I know that the Big Brother organization in the Delaware Valley is very much in need of men to volunteer to be Big Brothers.
Right.
And you're giving us some of the practical side. If someone listening tonight says, I think I'd like to try this, do they have to be a certain age to be a Big Brother?
No, not really. They range from 20 years of age up to, I've met Big Brothers that are 65, 67 years of age.
Right. And they don't just get thrown into it. It gives the process. They would call, they'd be interviewed, screened, whatever?
Basically, they call first, and there's many chapters in the Delaware County, Philadelphia area. They call and they're sent a letter, and they respond back from the letter, and then basically myself in Delaware County, I'm a field representative for the Big Brothers. I'll go out and interview them and ask them what's their intentions of becoming a Big Brother and tell them what the Big Brothers is all about, and at the same time give them a chance to ask me questions about the Big Brothers.
So they know very definitely what they're getting involved in.
Yes.
And the minimum requirement is to give basically a year commitment,
1 year.
4 hours a week.
Yes.
And then they are given some training, some support from the Big Brother organization.
Oh yes, constant things I find with the Big Brothers is once you're accepted into the Big Brothers, you'll get a monthly newsletter each a month. There was so many darn things to do, from camping to fishing to, it could be the night of the 76ers, Phillies game, Eagles games. And
then the organization takes great pains to match your little brother so that the combination of the relationship is a good one, a balanced one.
They feel no matter how long it takes, whether it would be 6 months, 6 days, if they feel it's a good match, it's going to last. Instead of going and just matching and just taking a potluck with it, they want something that's going to last.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about the little brothers. Who are they?
Little brothers are from basically this area, Philadelphia and the suburban counties. I think a big impression people have, it's young boys with fathers that have passed away, and I find in most cases it's through divorce cases and basically they're joining the mother's looking for an adult male to point him in the right direction.
To be a role model. Sometimes the father is still living, but they're divorced or separated, and there's a need for a male role model.
Exactly.
Okay. Is there a financial commitment if someone, again, is kind of interested but say, I have some time, but I don't have a lot of money and all this?
No, it's not really. In fact, a certain amount of it's tax deductible. But it's basically doing things that you'd normally do, and the little brother would be coming along with you. So it's not really costing too much out of the pocket. It doesn't cost too much to take a little brother to the movies or to go fishing or crabbing.
What do you think it has meant for Mike, you being his big brother?
Well, I've had over the years, Mike called me in different times and have questions that he just couldn't ask his mother, whether it concerns sex or peer pressure or school or many different things. And I think that I'm glad I was there, that he had the chance to ask me this, because there's really, I don't think, a point where he could have turned to anybody.
So it works out over the 9 years that it's been good for Mike, and it's been rewarding and good for you,
Oh,
too,
I find very much. Especially now that my kids are getting older, and Mike has taught me a lot as far as
about being a father.
Being a father. I'm learning from him how to with my own
I got to
kids.
wrap it up, John. It's good talking with you, and thanks for your efforts and giving your time. And if you're out there tonight, some potential big brothers, please give us a call and we'll put you in touch with the Big Brother organization.
Well, thanks to John, there are youngsters and many little ones who have wonderful holidays now. Christmas, Thanksgiving, birthdays. And I guess this Father's Day is one holiday where the Big Brother himself can benefit.
It surely is, Jane. And to celebrate a holiday is very important. And to think how a young person can always remember the celebrations of our holidays. Well, how do you celebrate a holiday? Dr. Fitzgibbons wants us to understand there's a very important reason for celebrating. Now, if you're not really celebrating this holiday, then perhaps you should ask yourself why.
Many adult children of alcoholics don't enjoy special times of the year, like birthdays and holidays, the way they should. This is because at those special times of the year, the child inside each one of us comes alive. Now, for most of us, our childhood memories of holidays and special times of the year are filled with warmth and love and a nice sense of safety, a sense of being protected. But for many adult children of alcoholics, their childhood and teenage memories of holidays are very painful, because during those times of the year, the parent who drank was often at his or her worst. So as the holidays approach, instead of feeling warm and positive the way most of us do, many adult children of alcoholics have painful feelings. They have unwelcome holiday visitors of sadness and emptiness and confusion. Now, many of these people in adult life feel miserable during holidays because they feel cheated out of something really important in life, a warm, loving foundation during special times of the year. Also, some of these people have great difficulty receiving gifts. They're just negative. They can't be positive about things because they're controlled by the pain of their past. Some become overly anxious and feel very restless. They've got to always be on the move. Part of this is because they have a lot of buried irritability from having felt cheated when they were young. Others tend to isolate themselves. They go off to their room, they hide behind a newspaper, they hide in front of a computer, they hide in front of a television set. They don't feel safe being close to people. Others become overly critical. They're angry and they don't know how to deal with this anger, so they take it out on others who don't deserve it, by the way. And then finally, some people make the worst mistake and actually begin acting like that alcoholic parent. Well, they may not drink or break things, but they're moody, they're angry, they're irritable. They're referred to as being a dry drunk. Okay, now what can be done if you have this problem or deal with people with this problem? Well, first, if you deal with people who are unhappy during holidays when they really should be happy, it can be helpful to discuss it with them and to say, gee, could this possibly be caused by what happened to you when you were younger? If you have the problem, there are several things you can do. One, buy some of the self-help books that are out today on adult children of alcoholics. Many of them are really excellent and point out ways to break these patterns from the past. Secondly, look for a positive ACOA meeting. ACOA is the fastest growing self-help group in this country. These meetings can be very helpful to deal with things from the past that are buried, to make them conscious, and to deal with constructive ways to resolve that pain. During holidays, if you find yourself being overly irritable, check yourself. Ask yourself, wait a minute, am I overreacting? Do the people I'm upset with really deserve this much anger from me? Some people have a deep buried anger at God. They feel cheated by God. So for those people, it can be helpful even to think of saying what Christ said on the cross, why have you abandoned me? And finally, it's good to be thankful for your many gifts and blessings. As you do this, you're going to enjoy your holidays and experience yourself being freed from the control of the past.
Dr. Fitzgibbon's help is so incisive for us. When all the grief we have in our lives, most of it we carry as baggage with us.
And we want you to carry us along tonight because we'll take you to the treasures of the Vatican next.
It's the first time that any manuscripts like this in a group have gone out from the Vatican Library.
"20 years ago, leukemia and related diseases took the lives of enough people to fill a ballpark. But today, more people are surviving, thanks to research by the Leukemia Society of America.
Hi, I'm Gary Carter. Join the team that's striking out leukemia. The Leukemia Society of America. We're closing in on a killer.
You've learned a lot in your life. Share the experience of a lifetime.
We welcome your comments and suggestions and encourage you to write to us at Reel to Reel, 222 North 17th Street, Room 907, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19103, or call us during regular business hours at 215-668-9842.
Going to the Vatican always means visiting the Pope. Pope means Holy Father. I guess the one image of Father is John 23rd, and mostly because he told us our heritage. He said, we are all spiritual Semites.
And that complex relationship between Christians and Jews has been studied for hundreds of years. Tonight, though, we're going to find out that this coming together is a relationship that is cemented in the Vatican itself.
When one thinks of Rome, images of the Vatican come to mind. But when one thinks of the Vatican, one would not expect images of Hebrew manuscripts. For thousands of years, the Vatican Library has housed over 800 Hebraica, and although scholars have been able to study them, these treasures have remained unknown to most of the world until now.
The Hebraica exhibit, Judaica exhibit, has a distinct uniqueness. First of all, it's the first time that any manuscripts like this in a group have gone out from the Vatican Library. And above all, it's the first time that these Hebrew manuscripts have gone out. Anything that's in the Vatican Library or in the Vatican, no matter how trivial, takes on a big significance because it's in the Vatican. As a collection, it's a good collection. Oh, it's nothing compared with some of the other collections. But it is in the Vatican. It has been cared for most scrupulously for at least 400 years, perhaps 500. And it has been always available to Hebrew scholars. And in that sort of modest way has provided a basis for Hebreo-Christian relations. Oh, it's not going to be the making or breaking of Hebrew-Christian relations, but it is a very powerful thing. Latin and Greek use a shorthand. You don't have to know that to read a Hebrew manuscript. The letters and the words are full, and they provide you with a very clear hand in most cases, whereas Latin doesn't, or Greek, apart from the abbreviations altogether. But on the whole, they're very alike in just the care with which they're done. My favorite manuscript, in fact, isn't here at all. But of these here in the exhibition, if I may take the catalogue for a moment, it is in fact this one of a man at prayer. The stillness of the whole thing, the candles in front of him, the book he's reading, and the utter stillness is, to my mind, one of the most moving things that I know of. There is no doubt about it that these manuscripts give us a window on the past. Do they also give us a window on the future with respect to Christian-Jewish relations? Now, as I see it, the window they give us on the past is a window on a Jewish past which was not adverse to relations with Christians, or even imitating Christians. That it shows that they loved one another or got on with one another, that's not all that evident. But it does show that they had a good sense of living together. And if that gives us a window on the future, at least it's something.
Father's Day celebration. My father is dead many years now, but even as adults, we always kissed him. Every time we met him or left him. Kiss your father tonight, you adults.
That's a nice idea. My father, Sylvester, affectionately known as Rudy, gets mad because I always kiss him on the top of his head. So, Daddy, tonight when I do it, you be nice to me.
That's great. My dad, John, also died 13 years ago, but I know he's still with me. I can feel him to this day, giving me a little push when I need it.
Mm-hmm. Sign of age, we call my father Papa. And you?
Dad, Daddy.
Daddy?
Yeah. Now the babies call him Pop-Up, so I guess the tradition goes on. Well, we hope that you continue the tradition next week on Reel to Reel as we join you once again. And until then, please take care.
Goodbye, and God bless you.
Good night, happy Father's Day, and see you next week on Reel to Reel.
Travel arrangements for Reel to Reel by Atkinson and Mullen, Newtown Square, PA, 215-359-5980.
Are you 18 to 35, single or married? Then mark off this Saturday. That's the night when our young adult prayer group meets at St. Charles Seminary from 7 to 9 p.m.
We've been meeting together for 4 years now, and the numbers keep growing. That's the Spirit's power.
So get in on the action of the Spirit in your life. Soon you'll be inviting others to come.
See you this Saturday at St. Charles Seminary at 7 p.m. Need directions? Call 215-668-HOPE.